Ivan Barbashev's first period goal holds up as Aiden Hill stops 28 shots. He was superb last night in VGK's 1-0 victory over the Oilers. And we will give you our takeaways coming up next, right here on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I am Tony Cardasco along with Chris Golick from Las Vegas-ish. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Please make sure to subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. We are brought to you today by FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. VGK wins a huge 4-point game. I can't stress this enough. Within the division against rival Edmonton last night, 1-0. The Golden Knights, Ivan Barbashev with the only goal. It came off of a Leon Draisaitl mistake. He goes 5-hole on Stuart Skinner. They showed the replay right on the ESPN Plus. His legs, that gap was like it was all the way from Mandalay Bay to the stratosphere. That's how much space. And
so you're going to say Henderson to Vegas, but yeah.
Henderson to Vegas. Okay, that's fair too. But goalie out of position. Someone said that was a pass that was intended for Eichel. That wasn't a pass if you watch that 100 times. In any event, the VGK defense finally stepped up. They played in waves. They couldn't stress this enough on the television broadcast, where if one defender, Pietrangelo, missed, there was another defender that stayed at home. An absolute team effort defensively. VGK wins on the leaky goal. And Hill was, as my friends in Europe would say, super. He was super. He was
good last night. Noah Hannafin, we'll start there real fast. You're talking about defense. Noah Hannafin was number 2 as far as on the hockey stat cards for the night. He was the second best VGK player. Ivan Barbashev, number 1 with the goals. So there you go. So Hannafin continues his streak of he's either on the top or on the bottom.
Can we bet on this? FanDuel, come on. Can we bet on where Hannafin's gonna finish on the hockey stat?
As long as you get plus 100 or better, you can. If you get plus 110 every time you make 2 bets, you make some money, but it's all good. So where to start on this one? Going to the third period, Golden Knights only had 2 shots on goal. Chris pointed that out as we were walking out last night. Golden Knights defense, bend don't break, right? You knew there was going to be a push from the Edmonton Oilers. They had a good push. They had some big chances. Aiden Hill had a brilliant save with his right pad, probably 4 or 5 minutes left in the game, something like that. And then a lot of really good saves, nice glove save, a couple flurries where there's a lot of people around the net. Took one off the head. Still, I think he took where he made that right pad save. He took it off the head first. You saw him like messing with his jaw afterwards, and just really good game. This is where I remind myself, I've been down on Aiden Hill, let's be clear about this, but this is also where I remind myself about what I said about Aiden Hill when he goes through these stretches. When he gets hot like this, his ceiling, his potential is to be one of, if not the best goaltender in the National Hockey League. He's playing very well right now. This is reminiscent of a stretch last season where he got really hot, and then a stretch, obviously, going back to the Stanley Cup playoffs and the Stanley Cup finals. So, good on Aiden, great game, and it was very weird, not what we expected by any means. And you said Barbashev on the pass. He tried twice to pass it across to Eichel, and the last time he said, screw it, I was going to put it on net and see what happens. And that was, you would have told me that goal would have gone in like that and the game finished 1-0, I would have thought you were crazy.
Right, absolutely. VGK, well, finally, has he earned his stripes? Is Cassidy calling him Aiden Hill, or is he just saying the goalie? Or our goalie, as he call him? Is he calling him by name?
That was what, 2 years ago when he said the other guy, Patera.
We had the other guy, but of late, the goalie is how he's been referencing Aiden Hill.
Samsonov's going to get a new nickname pretty soon. If
the luggage guy. VGK withstood that push, as you mentioned. The Oil in the third period, absolutely buzzing and playing well. Well, I was going to say on both ends of the ice, but the puck was in the Oilers' offensive end for most of that third period. And VGK went the final, 14 or 15 minutes without a shot on net. and they still won this game.
Yeah, we wandered down to improved seats for the third period.
I saw. Thank you. Thanks for that photo of the empty net. Somebody was starting. Somebody like leaves defensively a little bit early. Talk about pinching and skates all the way down the ice, looking for someone to spot him so he could get the ENG.
Well, the Golden Knight fans didn't necessarily leave early last night because a lot of them didn't come. But pardon me, you mentioned with the play on the other side in the Oilers offensive zone. Yes, definitely 100%. And
tilted.
This is something where I wonder about Knobloch. So Knobloch comes in, a month into the season after Woodcroft is fired. Massive turnaround. Edmonton Oilers defense goaltending improves. Edmonton gets within 2 goals of winning the Stanley Cup. Nice story. Okay, fine. This year, you wonder. This is where the Golden Knights are going to learn about Knobloch and the type of coach he is. And this is important to talk about in this podcast because Edmonton is in the Vegas Golden Knights division. They're going to see a lot of each other. How good of a coach is Knobloch? He has to figure out another way to get that team going besides just, okay, it's third period, boys, need a goal. McDavid, Draisaitl go on a line together because they weren't on the same line for the first 2 periods. So
no, they try to balance it out. They do. They try to,
and then when it doesn't work, like they need
that's their
they need another way to get something going besides putting those 2 on a line together, because you stop that line for their 45-second push and then you got 3 minutes where they're not going to push. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes. So but again, bend don't break. I thought Hanifin was good on McDavid a few times. Eichel was picking McDavid's pocket a couple times. Obviously, McDavid picked Eichel's pocket when I don't know what was up with that. I got that in video. I sent it to E-Runs. Eichel, I think, just thought, hey, no one's going to come. I'm going to make sure I get this in, and then oops.
Nonchalant. He was trying to ham and egg it.
He was a little nonchalant. He probably caught some crap from the boys afterwards.
Oh, and that would have been well deserved. Edmonton had a streak, by the way, of 10 consecutive games of 30 or more shots on goal. That was stopped with 28 last night. I can't stress enough how big this game was because it was a 4-point game. Oh, here's going to be our narrative. We need to start saying this every time VGK wins this month. Christmas came early for VGK. Christmas definitely came early. So, but VGK back up, Chris, to a 7-point lead over Edmonton. If they lost that game, it would have been down to just 3 points. 4-point swing in division. That is a massive, massive victory for VGK. And tonight they can just they don't need to play tonight against Anaheim.
Yeah, we'll hit that in the third segment. Could be a letdown, but we'll talk about that later.
Letdown, yeah.
So you talk about the division and everything. Yeah, these are. I was talking to someone in the media, and we are talking about early games if they mattered or not. And this individual said, "It's November. It's early December. The games don't matter as much as they do in April." I disagree 100% with that. The games, you can argue, they matter even more right now because in March and April, when your team is looking for points, when they're looking to either claw back into a playoff push or cement themselves in the top 3 or play for home ice advantage. Yes, you want to win the games in front of you in March and April and February and everything. But this is also where you start kicking yourself. Man, we should have had that game against the Oilers. We let that point slip away. Going back to the Florida trip, the Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning, Golden Knights left conservatively 1 point on the table. But then you look at where they stole points back, like against the Edmonton Oilers, 1-0 win. That's you can argue that's a game that Aiden Hill stole, and games like that are extremely important. Golden Knights had a big comeback, 2 comebacks against, I almost said Arizona, 2 comebacks against Utah. So those are the games you look at where the Golden Knights got these extra points, so to speak, and it erases mistakes earlier in the year. Technically, Oilers, shifting gears a tiny bit, their win percentage their points percentage coming into the game was .580. So technically speaking, the Golden Knights or the Edmonton Oilers aren't in that good team category. They're not over 600 points or 600 points percentage, but the Oilers have been playing really well. I don't think this win should be understated at all, even though the Oilers' points percentage is a little bit lower. Oilers been playing very well as late, very decent as late. They've had defense and goaltending. They've had scoring. Well, not last night against the Vegas Golden Knights.
So you cashed in. You're pretty good. You are very
Kinda.
good at reading
I
the
was on the
line.
overall, so I made a little bit. I
Oh,
didn't make it much.
yeah,
I
but
thought
you're
the over
very
was a
good at
safer
this.
bet, but
Yeah, me too.
give me plus money in that circumstance. It's felt like a no brainer. And locally, one of the sports books was offering a 10% boost. It's a no brainer. No brainer.
No penalties in the game. Very odd
That's a bummer.
stat.
That was a bummer. I wanted to see both power plays. That was a bummer.
VGK has one. Not of late. That's what the 9th consecutive game with no power play goals. Even though
Oh yeah, you're gonna drag that. There
yeah,
you
I'm
go,
going to
Tony.
drag
Good
him
job,
there.
dude.
Okay,
That's as bad as
Fourth-
people dragging me for no one being at the game last night.
for what?
For people dragging me because I point out that there was a bunch of no shows
There was
last night.
so you got dragged for that? It was awful.
I don't understand this. Like, this is the division leading Golden Knights with a Hart candidate,
A
with
4-point
multiple
game.
players. We're going to talk about Four Nations in a little bit as far as players on those rosters. Like, there is so much positivity about the Vegas Golden Knights in a season with a ton of question marks. And by the way, they're playing the Oilers, who traveled pretty well last night. I know people who weren't at the game have a lot of comments. Oh, it's a Tuesday night. It's after a holiday weekend. It's a home stretch.
F1.
Can't go to every game. That's bull. I'm sorry. This is if the Vegas Golden Knights want to consider themselves a major market, they got to find a way for this not to happen. And if the fans are no showing because they're trying to get a ton of money back on their tickets on Access, then that's their choice, and so be it. You'd rather take no. I sold my tickets for the Utah game for less than face value by a couple bucks to ensure they would sell, and I'd have to wait all dang day to sweat it out. And there were tickets you could have walked in last night for 20, 25, 30 bucks a ticket, fees after that, so still 35, 40 bucks a ticket, maybe a little bit less if you got lucky, but you could have got in that game very cheap last night, which again, McDavid, Oilers, if this was the Sabres or the Sharks or the Florida Panthers who don't travel as well, that place, I'm telling you, would have been empty. And again, I was talking to people at the media. They were pointing out open seats, talking to other people who were at the game pointing out open seats. The only people who are pushing back at me are the people who weren't at the game last night. Go figure.
Yeah, go figure. Okay, so it was Sportsnet put out a statistic last night. NHL games with 0 penalty minutes and 1 goal or fewer. And there's only been 5 instances in which this
That's
happened.
nuts.
And 80 years ago was the last time. So I was just a little pup at that point. So January 2nd, 1918, the Montreal Wanderers against the Canadiens. January 5th, 1918, the Wanderers and Toronto, the arenas. So the Wanderers, man, they were big into this stat. February 9th of 2024, Hamilton Tigers at the Toronto St. Pats. These teams aren't even in the league anymore. And then February 20th,
kind of are, but yeah.
1944, the Maple Leafs against your Blackhawks. That's the last time prior to last night, 0 penalty minutes and 1 goal or fewer.
Ken from Sinman put out it was the first time in the Golden Knights 659 game history where there was no penalties called in a game. So it's I love stuff like that. You think about the history of hockey and how many tens of thousands of games have been played, and you said what, this was the 5th time in the history going back 80 years or something like that. That's awesome.
The last time 80 years ago.
Yeah, and I was there. It's a shame more people weren't there to experience it.
Real quick, Jack Eichel. Where did he rate on that hockey card? Because he should have been number 2. Defensively, he did a tremendous job.
It goes like this: Barbashev, Hanifin, McNabb, Pietrangelo, Theodore, who I thought was kind of quiet actually, and then Jack Eichel, and then Olofsson right behind. Olofsson, I didn't see him as here nor there. Carlson, Dorofeo. We don't need to keep going from there.
Carlson almost had the empty netter, of course.
He did have one actually going towards them, and then he chased it down pretty hard. That was the fastest I saw him wheel all night going for that.
He did wheel. He did for once. Absolutely. Well, he saved that energy for. He didn't go 24 miles an hour though. Probably like 18. That was jetting for him. Coming up next,
Carlson's fast.
Potential Four Nations VGK players. We'll get to that as we return on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Tackle the NFL action all season long with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook That app gives you everything that you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats. You can view live play-by-play. So much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com and come and join today. The Thursday night affair is a good one, should be. The Packers minus 3.5 against the Lions and a total in Green Bay of 51 and a hook. Get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win the first $5 bet. That is FanDuel.com. FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. We are back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick reporting, not from rinkside, but from couchside.
I had different notes for that second segment, by the way. I'm not sure what just happened right there.
What just happened there? I don't even know. Of course, strange things happen. Of course, you got a lot of stickies, I'm sure. Don't forget Friday's WTF, Saturdays Chris Times Chris Jr. show, and make sure that you check that out, the YouTube exclusive. So today, the big day. 4 Nation rosters will be announced today. And make no mistake, Mr. Golick, this is Team Canada's show. So is Mark Stone coming back just so he could play in the 4 Nations?
Stone, number one, this has been something the Golden Knights have done when a player is close to coming back. Like if last night would not have been a back-to-back scenario, I think Stone plays last night. I would handicap it as pretty strong that Mark Stone makes his makes his return tonight against the Anaheim Ducks. This is always a concern that I have, and I will beat this drum until the day my heart's not beating anymore, that in season exhibition or tournaments, Olympic, whatever, I'm never a big fan of. And now Captain Mark Stone, who what seemed like a little thing was he missed 14 games, 13, however long it was the last time the Golden Knights played Edmonton when this injury happened. It was in Edmonton. So I don't know how long ago that was. I feel like
I guess it'd be about like 10 or 11 though. That not as many as you're saying, but okay.
Okay, fine. Either way, it's been a lot of games, and now we're going to put some extra mileage possibly on Mark Stone. Pietrangelo, same thing. Pietrangelo, he's got a lot of miles already.
Is he going to make it? Pietrangelo, Theodore?
David Pagnotta, that's a good source to go to.
He's a great source. Very credible.
Don't
cite anyone locally because they have no idea.
Well, you got David Drager and Pierre LeBrun involved in this as well. So you got a lot of good names here.
Yes.
As far as VGK for Team Canada, that's the roster I have in front of me right now.
Okay.
Stone is penciled in somewhere on the third line right now.
Yes.
Theodore and Pietrangelo.
Oh, geez.
Together as a unit.
That's not good. No, it's not good because they're playing extra games when they come back.
No, and then you got Aiden Hill penciled as one of the goaltenders as well. So
they're going to be mush when they get back here.
Well, these are all players. Pietrangelo actually is the one who's had the least amount of injury trouble recently. He's the oldest, but then
he got hit in the hand or arm last night. Did you see? We came off the ice.
Yeah, I caught that early, and I didn't see what happened. I saw him holding his arm. I couldn't tell what was it. The puck that he got? Was it a stick? Was it a puck?
I did not see what had happened. I just see him skating to the bench, and he's holding his arm. And
I saw it right after it happened, and my concern was that it wasn't like a stick. It was like almost like a non-contact injury where something got strained, but he came back. So that's what's important. But Tony, I'm 100% with you on the mileage here. Aiden Hill, Shea Theodore, Mark Stone. Injury trouble beyond belief. It's documented. I'm not making this crap up. Pietrangelo, who had both of his kids playing in the intermission game last night, I thought that was super awesome to watch. How do
they rank on the hockey stat card? His kids,
they're pretty good. No turnovers, a lot better than their father. Injuries, extra games, and we're talking the 4 Nations. This is exhibition hockey. This means nothing in the grand scheme.
Oh, it means everything to Canada.
It means a lot. Yeah, this isn't the Olympics. This isn't the World Cup of hockey. This is exhibition hockey. And now it's not just Vegas Golden Knights players. It's Colorado players and Jets players and
Top
Boston
players.
Bruins and Montreal Canadiens, apparently.
Yeah.
So, I'm not a fan to begin with, and nor am I a fan of some of the decisions on this Team Canada roster.
Adin Hill, they cannot stop talking about Hill. State run last
Hill
night.
deserves it. Hill deserves it. Before we go, let's start there.
No, okay. I'm not. It's a no doubter.
Okay, we agree. We agree.
But the bitterness of state-run radio, Hill, Bennington, and then the rest. Why is there so much stinking hatred? Why against Logan Thompson? I can't understand it. His stats, they prove for themselves that he belongs on the Four Nations. Can they make a trade and suddenly say he's American or do something like that?
I like ridiculous.
That. I know, it's stupid.
I got all the stats in front of me here. So Logan Thompson, 10-1-2, 9-1-3, and a 2.52. That's pretty good. Adin Hill, who's presumably the top goaltender, him or Bennington. Hill improves to 900 with the shutout against the Oilers. Again, not taking anything away from Adin Hill. I'm not saying Logan should be on, Adin Hill should be off, but I'm just talking about the stats of all the projected players. 267 goals against, 900 save percentage. 11-4-2 is Adin Hill, which I didn't even realize that. So that's really nice too. So again, Adin Hill, congrats. He earned it. Maybe early on, I didn't think he was tracking that way. He certainly in the last 7-8 games has really come alive.
It was his last tryout in game number 17 that actually.
Jordan Bennington, 7-9-2, 8.99 and a 2.87. 8.99. Okay, now it's only 1/100th of a point below 900, but still it's below that 900 number. And Bennington, last time I checked, I don't know. He's got moments. Yes, he's a Stanley Cup champion. Fine, okay, but that's a while back. That's before the Pietrangelo deal to the Vegas Golden Knights, as far as how long ago that was. And Bennington, he's a bit of a loose cannon.
Is number 3 Cam Talbot, like with a late push? What's going on with number 3?
So number 3 right now is projected to be Sam Montembeault. I hope I said that name correctly.
You did, but what?
Sam Montembeault is a Montreal Canadian.
I know.
He's got a 901 save percentage and a 299.
Oh, they just blacklisted it. They blacklisted Logan Thompson. For crying out loud, this is stupid.
So number one, Montembeault, someone's saying, and I don't know if this is a solid take or not, but it's a take. I saw someone was talking about ticket sales and stuff not looking good for the event, so get a local Canadian for the games in Montreal. I don't know if that's legit or not. And we're talking to 28-year-olds. Maybe they're grooming this guy to be someone. I don't know, but for Logan, like if Cam Talbot's numbers, I actually just looked at them yesterday. Cam Talbot, I think, was deserving. If you would have told me Talbot over Logan Thompson, I would have said, okay, fine. I would have liked that either, but Talbot's numbers are worthy of being on this team. Montembeault, a 28-year-old with 163 games of NHL experience, who is a 901 lifetime 898. Like, I don't understand. He doesn't check the experience box as far as him and Logan Thompson. They're within 30-something games of each other. Logan's played in the playoffs. Logan's a Stanley Cup champion. So I know someone's going to say this is locked on Logan Thompson right now. Someone said that about the Monday show, and I'll take that punch right now. That's fine.
They did, but why wouldn't we stand up for him? I mean, it's just crazy, the hatred towards LT around here in these parts.
Let's be clear. The Golden Knights didn't want him on this roster, Tony. I will happily say that Cassidy, Sean Burke, Kelly McCrimmon did not want Logan Thompson on that Team Canada roster.
Okay,
100,000%.
So VGK, absolutely, as they say in the scene, pimping Adin Hill. I don't know what other terms.
I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that.
Fine. That's fine. But that's okay. But don't do it at the expense of another goaltender that formerly played here. Number one. Number two, this is a contract year. And now the leverage for Adin Hill is just piling up. They're going to pay.
But that's a question, Tony.
Right.
Why are the Golden Knights so high on Adin Hill to do it?
All of a sudden, right?
They're going to have to pay him now if they want to keep him.
That's what I'm saying.
He's a Team Canada goalie. I don't understand both sides of
this. Exactly. So they better be prepared to give him the bag because he's at $5 million now. He's not going backwards, folks. He's $6 or $7 million. and he's going to play a
If he
leverage
keeps going like this, he's not
It
going
would
backwards,
be-
no doubt.
It would be hilarious, though. It would be so funny if he just goes, no, I'm going to test the market. They better lock him down here pretty soon. It's 6.5. It would be my guess.
I wonder if the extension comes now that he made the roster. Like maybe that was like a hush hush deal. Get me on the roster and
absolutely. It'll be no later. It'll be no later than the end of the Four Nations. No later than that. Where the extension.
So you're saying February the
20.
You're putting out there right now that
over under
by February 21st,
21st,
the season resumes on the 22nd. You're taking February 21st at 12:01 p.m. in 30 seconds because there's no pushes.
In 30 seconds, yes, there's no pushes. Exactly.
So 12 p.m. in 30 seconds. Okay.
So USA and Canada, the roster will be announced somewhere 3:30 to 4 o'clock Pacific time today. No one's caring. No one's caring about Sweden and Finland. Like that just got no one cares. So they just overlooked that. That's going to happen earlier in the day. Noah Hannafin, state run last night again. Just Finch's stuff here. State run. I know everyone's getting on his plus minus, but all the good players have slumps. I'm sorry. That's the narrative. I'm sorry. This is ridiculous. He's going to make it, I think, on this squad. Why? Good old boys club. Why? He played on the USA national team in 2014 and 15. And a lot of those team members are members of the Four Nations, whatever it is.
You call it the Four Babies?
It is. It's the Four Babies.
It's like the Skulls. Once a skull, always a skull, or something like that.
The Four Babies. During this break, the over/under is 3 and a hook on babies born like what? No, October, November-ish. Because last year we had a couple of babies from that All-Star break, man. And then Lars will be playing. Speaking of one of the people reproducing or whatever, Lars will be on Team Canada, right? So.
Canada.
Team Sweden.
I don't know. I've heard conflicting that he might not go because of that, which I think
because of the baby.
I think that'd be a very nice decision, but that's him and his family can figure that out.
Oh boy, we are so deep into the show. Coming up next, we do have a preview of the VGK Ducks game and our locks of the night. Stay with us here on Locked On Golden Knights. We are so late. PrizePicks, the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members, billions of dollars in awarded winnings. PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks, and you could win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as few as 4 correct picks. And it is best to get into the action in over 30 states now, including California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. And again, I see all these picks coming out there on social media. So everyone is getting involved with PrizePicks, and it does put its members first. All the withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in up to quickly as up to 15 minutes. So sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play just $5. And you don't even need to win to receive this $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. It's the best way to win real money. Real money this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones are not? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on PrizePicks. Welcome back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. We are running so late. And don't forget, Fridays are WTF. Saturdays sometimes, the Chris Jr. Show. Preview of VGK and the Ducks. VGK won the first meeting 3-2, while Hurdle and Dorofeev, they scored the VGK goals. Aiden Hill made 22 saves. Remember, the game wasn't as close as the final score, so if you had VGK minus 1.5 goals, you were pretty pissed. Frankie Vetrano, remember, scored that backdoor goal with 13 seconds to go. But Vetrano's been heating up of late. 2 goals and a helper in the Ducks win over Ottawa the other night. Troy Terry also on a heater, 3 assists and a goal, and he's playing pretty well. And against the Senators, that was a big game for him. So what do you got? 4 points in that game. Are you concerned about the Ducks if you go back to last year's history or the way that they closed out that first meeting?
I'm concerned about the Ducks because of the game against the Utah Hockey Club on Saturday. Big game the night before against the Winnipeg Jets. Golden Knights emptied the clip. They emptied the tank, and good job against the Jets. Terrible showing against Arizona. Dang it, against Utah. And now you got the same thing happening, right? You got really good team, really bad team, and now you're adding in a short flight. So this is, I think the Golden Knights are still going to be okay in this one. I don't think it's going to be a good game by any means. I don't think it's going to be crisp hockey. I don't think it's going to be any of that. And typical narrative, Golden Knights will come out buzzing, probably slow down in the second and third. Will they get far enough ahead early in the game, or are they going to have to keep on digging? John Gibson, this might be the first time the Golden Knights see John Gibson all year, I believe.
You think
Gibson,
so?
6. What's that?
No, he's playing well.
Yeah, 4-1 and 1,
appendicitis.
9-2-2, and a 2-4-9. And if it's not Gibson, it's Dostal, who's a 9-2-1 and 2-7-3 with 15 games. So the Ducks got some goaltending right now, and we'll see if the Ducks can get rid of John Gibson and get that contract off their books. You know, they would love to do that, but for now, they got a couple real good goaltenders there, and you know they can both steal a game. They can steal a game where the Golden Knights are going to be tired. They defended. The Golden Knights defense has their work cut out for them tonight.
Yeah, this will be interesting. Now they got shut out 6-0, come back, win in the shutout 1-0. Tonight they'll probably lose 8-0 in this game. We're going to prediction.
Should I write that down?
No, we're going to see Samsonov tonight for VGK.
Woo!
You know, with John Gibson, it's kind of like it's the same effect that Mark Stone had. Stone a lot lighter on his feet after he got rid of that spleen. That was doing nothing for him. And then Gibson, minus the appendix, is a much better goaltender.
The balance is better.
Yeah, the balance is much better. Troy Terry leads Anaheim in points, and again, Gibson playing pretty well. Time for our locks and predictions here. I'm going to go. So I'm calling this the duck tail. So it's the tail end of a back-to-back, and I am calling this the duck tail. You're going to tail them tonight? Are you going to? Okay, bet on that end. 4-2 Ducks. 4-2 Ducks. Duck tail. Haig and Howden. I think will be the 2 goal scorers for VGK. Chris, what are your predictions for tonight?
I think it's ugly game. I don't see a lot of good about this. I think the Golden Knights find ways to score goals. I think they're also going to be a little bit leaky tonight, which is expected on a back-to-back situation. I'm going to go 5-4 overtime victory for the Vegas Golden Knights.
Whoa.
I'm also going to stick with the narrative right now. I'm going to stick with the narrative. It's a sub 600 points percentage team. That's what I said when I put out my points prediction for the month. I just went with the narrative. The Golden Knights got 8 of their 12 games this month against teams with a sub 600 points percentage. So 16 points for the Golden Knights in the month of December. Tonight would fit that narrative. 5-4 Vegas Golden Knights overtime winner. Hurdle and Hannafin. Come
on. We're going with all the H guys. This is crazy. This is 4 H.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Haig.
Ducktail and Ducktail.
Are there H's we left out? Or
you put Ducktail there in my predictions when the interns.
I don't know if I have that many characters. We don't pay for Twitter, so I don't know.
Oh, by the way, did you know that VGK practiced this week? They practiced, Chris.
Like we're doing on the show. It's the narrative because they looked better last night. So I mean, they did look better.
It's because of practice, and they got their cars detailed as well. Don't forget Fridays, WTF. It's a country club. Saturdays, the Chris.
Pat's Ready was so right.
He's so right. People are mad, and he's so right.
But to be fair, that might have been more of a Peter DeBoer thing, though. But whatever.
The Chris and Chris Jr. show is on Saturdays sometimes versus the cartoons. We appreciate everyone tuning in, especially our everydayers. For my man Chris Golick, I am Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas. We'll see you again tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights. And please take care.
You sure?